It's not all about clicks. It may be about a pick six, but here is week 6 of college football.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, man.
Okay.
Let's go.
We're back. Week 6 of college football. It was an interesting week last week for college football. Wasn't a bad week. I think it was a better week for you last week.
It was a great week for me.
I was gonna say. It was a great
week for me. It was interesting, to say the least, but it was a great week for me. That's a perfect 4-0 on the week. Back in the win column. Finally, my first winning week. Only took me 5 weeks to get there.
That's impressive, man. To have an 0-4 week and a 4-0 week during the season. That's crazy.
When I'm hot, I'm hot. All right, so
cleans the slate right there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And we'll start off talking about Kentucky, Florida.
Man,
Kentucky manhandled Florida.
Very impressive.
You could see it coming. Yeah, at least I did. You did not. You were on Florida.
I didn't. But man, I was like, because I didn't think there was a lot going on, at Kentucky. But Stoops has been there for what, like 12 or 13 years. That man still at the Kentucky program, and
phenomenal.
They've come to a point where they can be a solid, consistent team. That's what I've witnessed from that game.
Yeah, and they showed it. That defense was terrific. Mertz, ETN, that entire rushing attack, they had nowhere to go. Really well done by that Kentucky defense. And then Ray Davis, shout out to him. He ran all over that Florida Gator defense. They looked impressive, and they have a big matchup this week. All right, game 2, Texas and Kansas. Texas, they could have won by a lot more.
They started off slow in that game.
They started off a little slow. They didn't take advantage of some of their red zone trips. They settled for 3 a lot. But when push comes to shove, Texas is Texas. They're the best team in the country right now, I think.
Wow.
And they're showing it week in, week out. That was an impressive win over Kansas. And Kansas, no slouch. Without Jalen Daniels, though, he got hurt pregame. Definitely took a bit of a hit on Kansas's odds because he is dynamic. He is electric. I love watching Jalen Daniels play. But Texas, what more can you say about them that's not, that's negative? You can't. They're too good.
They're back right now. You can't hit you can't knock them off that pedestal just yet. We'll get into it later with a big weekend coming up for them, though.
All right, then skipping ahead to the night game, Notre Dame and Duke. Notre Dame squeaks it out at the end.
That was stressful, man.
-5.5.
Riley Leonard got hurt, though. That was kind of a bummer for that Duke, their quarterback.
Yep.
And that kind of, knocked the wind. Yeah. Shout out to his mom. But that knocked the wind out of probably Duke's sails, and Sam Hartman just had to take control of the game. And yeah, exactly.
They got it done, and that's what Notre Dame hasn't been able to do recently is get it done, right? They didn't get it done against Ohio State. They rebound nicely on the road in a tough Duke environment. But then we get to LSU and Ole Miss. Now, what did I say last week? I said you're going to hate yourself if you do not pick Ole Miss, and they win this game. And what do? Jackson Dart and that Ole Miss Rebel offense, Quinshon Judkins, the boys were buzzing. What a comeback victory for Ole Miss. They win the game. The girl was crazy. I almost bought an Ole Miss shirt on Amazon. I was looking for one. Unfortunately, they're out of my size, so I was actually going to get one. Ole Miss
trying to pull a me on me?
Yeah, Ole Miss came to play, and they beat LSU. Unreal performance.
It was. It really was. Jackson Dart probably might have played the game of his life that night. I mean, that's probably the best we've seen Ole Miss look since Lane Kiffin's gotten there, honestly. No disrespect to Matt Corral a couple years ago, but that team on all levels was not what it was that night. I mean, also shout out to LSU. They played a heck of a game. That I did not expect that game to be that high scoring. I thought, maybe some 30s, but when you're talking almost pushing 50 at the end of the game, that was wild. But I mean, shout out to both offenses. Where were the defenses in that game? We knew they probably weren't going to be there because both teams have the highest percentage of 25 yards or more on offensive plays in the country, allowing that. So the defenses didn't come to play, and it was just a shootout, and Ole Miss got the upper hand in the end.
Well, I didn't expect the defenses really to be much of a factor in that one. But the way the offenses were moving the football and the way that Ole Miss was able to close out that game, nothing short of sensational. And much respect to Lane Kiffin. That's a big win.
He needed that win.
That's a culture win. And you saw the locker room post game.
That was crazy.
They were awesome. They were awesome. So, what does that bring my overall record up to after that 4-0 week? 9-13-1. I'm still on the outside looking in, but hey,
this week can bounce you back right into place.
Exactly. Baby steps here. Justin was 2-2 on the week. He's even keel, staying steady. 12-10-1 overall through 5 weeks. We're on to week 6 now. But what a week it was. Cannot wait to keep the momentum going. And disclosure, I did parlay those 4 picks. Nice little payout.
Wow, that's a dub right there.
Nice little payout. So I needed that. We're back. We're so back. Like Texas, we're back.
And even Evan, he didn't. It wasn't announced on the show, but on the side, he was sliding with Oregon State. That hit as well.
That did hit. I did bet on the Beavers. I didn't post it on the Twitter, which is on me because I'm gonna be more active. I got a parlay out there tonight. 11-leg parlay.
Oh my goodness!
It's insane. Bears, Commanders. We're taping early. Insane.
Yes.
Check out the Twitter, STJ Sports Pod. I mean, well, you guys won't hear it in time, but follow the Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
You'll see more picks like that, and maybe another Friday night Oregon State pick if there's one in the future. Those Beavers were awesome against Utah.
I got to get back on the gram. You want to know what's crazy? For like a while, I was like, I forgot we had one, and then I went because I have different ones for all the stuff I'm doing, and I'm like, oh yeah, we have that. So I will also get back on the Instagram because that's helpful.
I post every episode on Twitter, but
I know, and
I want to be more engaged with the community because that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do to grow, and we want to be able to communicate with you guys more, share some picks, share some love. So
absolutely. But we're gonna hop right in to week 6 here. We got 5 beautiful games for you this week. Kicking it off, bringing the Tigers back to the Tigers. LSU heads to Missouri. LSU favored by 4.5. Man, 2 of my current enemies, you could say.
You have one team that beat your K-State Wildcats on a 61-yard field goal, and then you have another team that let you down last week.
Against my actual other team that I am a fan of.
So both of these teams are causing you a little bit of pain, a little bit of suffering, but guess what, Justin?
What is it?
You can't go wrong with this pick. Because either way, you're taking a team that's represented by a Tiger.
I can't lose.
Simple as that.
Can't lose by picking a Tiger.
If you say I'm taking the Tigers, you can't lose, right? Obviously, that's not how it's going to work here. 74% of the bets on the spread are on Mizzou, per the Action Network. So the people love Mizzou, and why shouldn't they? LSU's coming off a bad loss to Ole Miss. Missouri looks really good. Obviously, the upset went over K-State. Brady Cook, their QB, he looks sensational. Luther Burton the third, I think his name is. He's their wide receiver. Stud. But the issue with Mizzou is they cannot run the ball. They're great in the passing game, but they cannot run the football. And what did Ole Miss do really well last week? Ran the football. Quinshon Judkins, we know he's a stud, but still, their ability to establish the run and just punch it down LSU's throat, that was impressive to see. Now, while LSU really, I mean, their defense, run or pass, it's not great, right? We saw that last week. And we've seen it all season long. But what LSU lacks in defense, they certainly make up for in offense. They can 100%. Run the football. They can pass the football.
I mean, 637 yards last week, 49 points against Ole Miss. Jaden Daniels was having quite a weekend for himself in Oxford.
Right, and while this Missouri defense probably better than Ole Miss's, they haven't faced an offense like LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about Brian Kelly in a bounce-back spot. This number was 6.5 opened up. It's down to 4.5, but everyone's betting the Tigers. Why is the number going the other way?
Because the people want the Tigers.
Or I'm sorry, the number is going that way. But the people want the Tigers. Number's going down, obviously, right? But
But I mean, you're making it's tough because you're right. Missouri has been looking good. Brady Cook, man, 75%, 11 touchdowns, no picks so far. Guy's been consistent. But like you said, you need an overall offense in the SEC. You need it on all levels. So not having a run game is very hurtful for the Missouri Tigers.
Right. And in that game against Kansas State, while I did like a lot of what Missouri did offensively,
they survived.
They survived that game. And that's a game where Kansas State, I told you, it's not the same K-State team. It's a weakened group. They're without their star, Deuce Vaughn. Obviously he's in the NFL now. they're going through a little bit of an identity change, right? They got to find themselves after losing basically their entire offense. And Will Howard, while I like him at QB, still got some questions to answer. So in this matchup, I'm going against my gut here because I do really like Brady Cook, and I love that 61-yard field goal, and I really like Missouri in that game against K-State. And I've been interested in them, and I thought, why not go with Missouri here? But everyone's on them. I think I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna buy back in on LSU. I think they respond here. It's not my favorite pick of the bunch here. We got 5 games. It's probably my least confident pick, but I'm gonna take the Tigers of Louisiana, not Missouri.
It's tough when you look at how dominant, even in a loss, the LSU offense is, man. I mean, I bet you they could average, I don't know how many points they're averaging this season, but it's got to be high up there. And Missouri has yet to score even in the high 30s, So if they want a foot race, they're not going to win that race.
You can do it against this LSU defense. But the only issue I have is it's going to be all on Brady Cook's shoulders. And I'm not sure if he's capable of doing that just yet. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he can grow into that role. But they struggle to run the football. Brady Cook, he's a bit of a scrambler. He can definitely do it with his legs. But that offensive line and actually running the football, like staying committed to the run, that's just not something Missouri does. And so you're asking Brady Cook to do a lot. And you think this LSU defense is just going to lay down and let that happen to them again? They're going to have to respond. Brian Kelly is not just going to sit there week in, week out and watch his team implode defensively. There's going to be a response at some point, and I think it comes this week.
I agree. And a guy like Jaden Daniels, he's a guy that can do all that we'd be asking of Brady Cook to do. So if you are, I'm with you on the LSU.
Let's go LSU, man. Wow. I'm shocked a little bit.
You thought I was gonna hop on the Mizzou wagon like the Gator?
Well,
Gator
just because of last week, I thought maybe you'd be a little spiteful, but you're back on the LSU train.
No, because Missouri can play well, but if this offense is clicking, Missouri can't stop them. They really can't. The LSU is just the better team at the end of the day. So, go Tigers. LSU Tigers. All right. On to game 2. Roll Tide comes to Texas against the Aggies. A nice little tight game here. Alabama favored by 1.5 against the Aggies.
Justin, let me take over really quick. This is my quickest pick of all time. I'm going to let you talk. I have no analysis for you. Texas A&M plus 1.5. It's automatic. It is automatic. Now you can speak.
Wow. I was not expecting that. I'll tell you what. If Jimbo Fisher wants everyone to shut up about him, and he doesn't keep his process going as he inches away to being fired each year, and he's only there because they gave him that much money, this is the time to beat Bama. This is the time to shut up Nick Saban about you. This is the moment. One moment. Capture it. Are you going to capture it or let it slip? It's so interesting to look at this. Jalen Milroe has been a little bit better. Alabama still hasn't looked like they at first were going to in the beginning of the season. But honestly, we didn't know what Alabama was going to be because those first few games, there was not much to say. We found out who they were against Texas, and we know they're not good enough. We know they still are a decent team in the SEC, but that spot of top dog is just dwindling by obviously the past 2 years of Georgia, who isn't looking right now like a truly number one dominant team like they have in the past. There's still some holes right there. There's a lot of my gut telling me don't fall into the A&M trap. But I'll tell you, their starting quarterback, he got hurt. Backup comes in, and he's been playing really well. I forget what his last name is, but his brother is also a receiver or tight end on this A&M team. You stressed me out making that pick right there, dude.
It's automatic. 67% of the bets on the spread are on Alabama. This number was opened at, I believe, 2.5. It's now down to 1.5. It's going the opposite way. It's coming down despite everyone picking Bama. This number, 1.5? Are you kidding me? This is way too small of a number. You just blind bet this game. You don't even think about it. And I'm not thinking about it. It's Texas A&M. As soon as I saw this number, Texas A&M all day. I don't even have to give you analysis. The people, you don't even hear what I have to say about the QB, about the RB play, about the defense. No. Listen to me. Hear me out. It's A&M plus 1.5. It's automatic. And if it fails because I trusted my judgment here. This is the automatic play. You look at this number, it's automatic. This is what Vegas is telling you to do. They're telling you to pick A&M because they want you to pick Bama. Easy enough.
It's crazy because this could. I know this could easily be a field goal game the way these teams have been playing. I gotta go with my gut, and I'm going Bama.
All right.
Enough said. Don't think about it.
No.
Just do it.
No.
I would. I would if I lose this pick, I wouldn't be mad because it'd be great to see finally something good out of Texas A&M. And Jimbo needs this, man. This is the time. There's gonna be no other moment.
This number makes no sense.
That's 1.5.
It makes no sense. I don't know why it's 1.5. I don't know why it opened up at 2.5, and I don't know why it came down. That's why I'm taking A&M. I have no idea why it is the way it is.
Suspicion.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think it'll be a close one, so it makes sense to me. But
it should be. And you're on Bama, that's fine. I don't fault you for it. I'm just going with my logic, my thinking. You see this number, it's on the table, A&M.
I respect it. It's not like it's I don't view it as an ugly pick, though, because, like, it shocked me at first, but...
No, when I see this number, like, the alarm bells go off, I'm like, okay.
The bells are ringing. All right. Easy enough. Quick rapid fire today. Game 3. Another week picking Notre Dame in a game we got here as one of our options. We had them against Ohio State. We had them last week against Duke. And now they head to Louisville, who surprisingly is now in the top 25 and undefeated.
Yep.
Crazy.
Jeff Baum's putting in work.
He is, man. They came back and beat NC State at NC State last week. Notre Dame did play that monsoon game-ish with all the thunder and lightning and ended up beating NC State at NC State as well. The Irish open for us, open at 6.5-point favorites against these Cardinals.
Dude, it's a really tough game for me because in my gut, I want to take Notre Dame.
I feel you.
And my mind is telling me, take the home team at night. Notre Dame came off an emotional loss against Ohio State, then a gutsy victory against Duke. Can they do it again? It's so tough for me to say.
I feel like you're feeling like this could end up exactly how last week went, but they win, but not enough. You know what I'm saying? It could go like last
kind of where
week.
I'm at right now.
Like you think Notre Dame's going to win, but are they going to cover that?
That's what I'm saying. 6.5 after last week's 5.5, and that was a sweat last week. That was not an easy victory. So now I see 75% of the bets on the spread are on Notre Dame.
Dang.
Notre Dame wants to run the football. They can. I mean, they're great at it, and they also want to sling the ball with your boy Sam Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
But Louisville, don't sleep on the Cardinals, man. Jack Plummer's been very nice, quietly. Bit of a turnover issue, but
he leads the league in yards per completion.
Exactly. There it is right there. I believe it's 10.7 yards per attempt.
Yes.
Insane. So while this Louisville offense can definitely throw the football, Notre Dame's really good against the pass. And their defense is phenomenal, and Marcus Freeman's done a great job of rebranding and rebuilding that team. So I'm in such a tough spot because my gut is telling me pick the Irish, and my mind's telling me, but it's a night game, it's a road environment. This Cardinals team is reinvigorated by Jeff Brom.
Do you want me to throw my pick out first?
I'm just going to go with my gut here. I'm going to take the Irish. I don't love this pick. I'm a little bit more confident in it than I am in LSU because I think Notre Dame is a much better football team than LSU right now. And if there's any team that's battle tested right now, it's Notre Dame. So I'm just going to trust my gut. I know it's a heavy public favorite here, but I'm going to take the Irish. And I don't love it, but I'm going to do it.
The problem is that Louisville's pass rush is really not that good. So as long as the offensive line of Notre Dame stands strong, Hartman can just throw it around as long as he's, precise with everything that's going on. And Estime, he could just start breaking tackles.
He's a bowling ball. He's a beast.
Literally. He's got to be, I think he's like, I don't know. I think he's like top 3 in 25-yard plus runs in or near the end zone or in enemy territory. I don't know. But I'm on the Irish.
Okay.
I can't. It's there. I definitely thought about it, but
it's just back-to-back weeks of night games. Do you feel like it starts to wear on them a little bit?
It's literally 3 7:30 games.
Yeah.
2 of them game day.
2 of them on the road, too.
Throwing the pot.
The night environment is tough to play in.
It's crazy.
It's really difficult.
And the thing that sucks is they got the best team at home.
I know. Well,
and they couldn't get that done. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Irish, man.
It's one of the tougher picks on the slate. And when you first, sent me what we were going to do this week, and I saw the Irish in Louisville, I was like, do we really got to go back to the Irish well? And
that Louisville's the reason right there, man.
Yeah, because we don't really know what they are.
We don't.
Are they a legitimate undefeated team?
Sneaky team in the ACC?
But you know what, actually? Jeff Brom. What did he do last year against Penn State opening night with Purdue? Absolutely choked that game. So he's going to find a way to choke this one.
Oh.
I have now found a sense of confidence I did not have before. Jeff Brom ruins the game for the Cardinals, just like he did for Purdue last year. In many, many times, many efforts. Jeff Brom found a way to throw up all over himself. Notre Dame is a safe pick now. I feel comfortable now taking Notre Dame. Just remembered what happened opening night, and now I feel a lot better about myself.
It's prime time, so he's going to get sick.
Exactly.
Grow up.
Yep, that's Jeff Brom, not a prime time coach.
You could say he's.
I don't even know what his stats are. Just that opening night game was enough for me.
He's the Kirk O'Chains of the college football realm.
No, he's the Daniel Jones.
The Daniel Jones.
I can no longer hate on Kirk because Daniel Jones is 1-12 in primetime games. 1-12.
That's actually really
the lowest winning percentage of all time for quarterbacks, just so you know. Duke product, by the way. Shout out Notre Dame. Just beat him last week.
I'll tell you what, man. Daniel Jones just stresses me out now.
It all comes back around.
It's sad to see the Giants like that, but I'm really not sad to see the Giants because of what they've done to us in the past.
I'm very happy the Giants are in complete shambles right now. Except shout out to my boy Saquon Barkley.
Shout out to Saquon though, because he's in a good spot right now. Because he didn't sign that contract. They didn't give it to him. He didn't sign it. He can.
Hopefully he can just get out of there after the season.
Exactly. They wasted that money.
Get a little bit of a pay raise somewhere else. 3-year contract.
Absolutely. Someone will pay him.
$65 million.
Someone will pay him. If he's healthy, someone will pay him. No, all day. A wonderful game for Kentucky back on the big board here. Heads to Athens against Georgia Bulldogs, or Georgia the Bulldogs. 14.5-point favorites, the Bulldogs.
It's a big number.
It is a big number.
It's a big number, but here's where I calm you down about this number.
I've been stressing. I don't even have a pick.
I know you've been stressing.
I don't have a pick. There's one game on my sheet out of all our picks. I don't have a pick on here.
I know you've been stressing, but let me talk you through this, all right? Georgia has not played their best football yet this season, and that's a fact.
Absolutely.
We know there's more left in the tank. We know they have another level to get to. The public loves Kentucky. On the heels of what they did to Florida, why wouldn't you love Kentucky? They dominated up front. They dominated on the back end. It was a complete domination. But why is this number, which opened up at 14.5, not moving at all? It hasn't budged. Kentucky, number 1 in yards per carry. Ray Davis, we talked about him in the recap, stud.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, not as efficient running the football, but Carson Beck, Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, we know they got guys on offense. They're going to make plays in the passing game. Kentucky's front seven's for real, but Georgia's rush defense is good, and that pass defense is excellent. I think they control the line of scrimmage in this one. They have better athletes. They have better players. They're at home. Bulldogs also carry a 13-game win streak against Kentucky.
Which is insane. 13 in a row, 24 of the last 26. And with just 21 points allowed over the last 4 meetings. That's insane, man.
This game typically is low scoring. Kentucky usually does a good job of holding Georgia to a low point total, but we're not in Lexington. We're in Athens. I think they take this game seriously. I think Georgia now steps on the gas instead of, slightly tapping the brakes. They go all in on this one. I think Georgia blows them out. Give me Georgia minus 14.5.
Wow.
And I like Kentucky. I think they've got a really good team. And Mark Stoops done a great job rebuilding Kentucky football to being a respectable threat in the SEC year in, year out. I just don't think they have the horses to win this race. So give me Georgia minus 14.5. I think Kirby Smart gets his guys locked in. Remember that game against Tennessee last year where Georgia kind of looked shaky? Tennessee looked like the better team.
And then
I told you, just let Georgia in this one. And they did just that. I think this is the same kind of game, same kind of atmosphere. And where's it at? Athens. They're going to get this done.
It's interesting to look at Georgia, because the offense isn't what it has looked in the past. The defense is always pretty good, and it's not bad this year, 6th in the nation on third down stops, number 1 in the SEC in scoring defense. They're also 16th in the country in total defense, which is pretty good. It's not what they're used to. I feel like they're normally top 5 in most cases. This is a tough one for me after Kentucky threw me for a loop last week. It really threw me off. But Georgia's due for kind of a statement game. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're due for a statement game because everyone's saying what gives them the right to be number 1 right now. They're not playing like it. They're showing nothing. Obviously other teams have played it's tough for me, as a Michigan fan to be like they should definitely be number 1 because I'll admit they still haven't played a legit dominant competition.
Right. Number 1 right now I'd say is Texas.
Based on overall
resume,
play. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. Obviously biased. I'm like Michigan should still be ahead of Texas, but I guess I definitely agree
just
resume
based off
wise.
Resume and what they've done and how they've looked in most of their games, they've dominated.
Yeah, and my thing is, I feel like as soon as side note, as soon as Michigan would be put at 1, it'd be like something would happen. I don't think they need to be number 1 because something's gonna happen.
You almost don't want it.
You don't want it because it's gonna happen. Then they're gonna lose, and then it's the ultimate troll for next year. But
they are going to lose to Penn State. Michigan is.
It not being a night game is huge.
I'm telling you right now, whatever it is, I'm taking Penn State money line. I don't care what the spread is. It's going to be Penn State money line. I'm just preparing you. I'm going to be so toxic that day. I got to get a Penn State shirt for it.
This guy is this guy's like, I am the main fan of every freaking Big Ten team but Michigan.
Well, I went to MSU. I got into Penn State. I could have gone there.
That would have been wild for you to go to Penn State.
Sometimes I wish I did.
I know it's in the back of your mind. It'd be cool.
I loved Michigan State, and I don't regret going there at all. But just in the back of my mind, if I was in another dimension, I'd try out Penn State just for a different experience, just see what it's like.
Yeah, man.
Just see Happy Valley.
Be there
for 4 years.
An hour and a half away from Philly.
Yeah, just. If you could have 100 lives, Penn State would, I'd go to Michigan State once, I'd go to Penn State once, I'd go to all sorts of places, right? Just to have a different experience. Just, why not?
When I was younger, the top 2 schools I wanted to go to were Northwestern and Tennessee.
Northwestern's a great school.
Isn't
Tennessee
that crazy?
Is awesome. So
an outlier also was Syracuse, but I'm like, I couldn't live in New York. I know it's upstate.
You could live in New York.
I probably would have to be at Syracuse because it's upstate. I wouldn't want to be in. I wouldn't want to be in the city.
You'd be fine in upstate New York.
Just vibing.
Become a journalist. That's what everyone at Syracuse does.
That's what I probably would have done. But
still could do it.
I still could do it. I thought about it. I did do it in high school. I'll have to trust the dogs. I can't. It's so hard for me. If this ain't basketball, it's hard for me because
it ain't basketball. And there's no Anthony Edwards on.
Because so far, anytime I've lost a pick, and I've went back to trust the team that played well, they get murked.
Yeah.
Florida.
Well, it's just picking your spots, right?
And Missouri's probably going to happen.
Of course, what team is cute right now? Kentucky. They're the cute team. Everyone loves them.
Cuties.
The thing about Vegas is they don't care if you're cute or ugly. They just care about you covering the spread. And they know more likely than not who's going to cover this one. And if it's not Georgia, I'll be shocked. If Georgia struggles in this one, I'll be shocked. Because even though Kentucky's good, Georgia needs to have that statement game. And we know that they're capable of getting to another level. And this is the time for that to happen.
Do you think if they struggle against Kentucky and in our next game we have Texas, do you think and Texas plays a crazy good game, do you think Texas should be moved to 1?
Yeah.
Do you think they should be, but would they be?
Yeah, I do. If Texas does what they did last year and Georgia struggles, I mean, no offense to Michigan, but they're playing Minnesota. Like, stay at 2, fine. You're not moving up to 1. Texas has the opportunity to do that. And I would be fine with putting Georgia at 3 below Michigan, like if they struggle again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were down by 11 to South Carolina on the road. That's unacceptable if you're Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, they still won the game, but still.
Yeah. Michigan may have struggled at the beginning of certain games, but they're always hasn't been a tight game.
Yeah.
That's the consistent thing. They're winning when they're supposed to. They're not like obviously
they're bored. And I feel like Georgia's bored. But there comes a game when you have to snap out of it and you got to actually try. And this is the game where you get up for. And Nick Saban said it too. I have about 2 or 3 games where I can actually get my guys up for. Like, this is one of those games. And Kirby Smart from the Saban tree, I believe. This is one of those games where you get up for. Like, you can get your guys up for this game. And
it's probably how Ole Miss was last week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that vibe, man. Just that vibe. I guess go Dogs. All right. Last game of the slate. The big one. The Red River Rivalry.
This is going to be an absolute banger.
Back
I cannot
in
wait.
Dallas, Oklahoma, Texas. Undefeated. Texas favored by 5.5. How will Oklahoma do? Second-year coach Brent Venables. Hopefully he readjusted that defense as he is a defensive mastermind. And Oklahoma's really never had a defense, but that is the Big 12. And after that absolute terrible performance of a 49-0 shutout last year, we don't know what's going to happen. And this is a way better Texas team than last year.
It is a way better Texas team, but it's also a way better Oklahoma team.
Absolutely.
8 of the last 11 matchups have been one-score games, so these teams play each other tough. You mentioned the 49-0 blowout last year. That was a little bit of cold water on a hungover face. I think that was Oklahoma and Brett Venables reestablishing themselves, changing the dynamic after Lincoln Riley left. That was kind of a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah.
That loss. That was a big loss. And Oklahoma does not lose 49-0 to Texas or any team often, if ever.
Exactly. And I mentioned this earlier today. It's been a while since, like you said, it's been pretty consecutive close games. Hasn't been a big blowout like last year since 2012, 11, 12.
No,
it's not a big blowout often.
No, these are typically one-score games, and if they're not one-score games, it's within 17 at most, right? These are 2 teams that play each other tough almost every single time they go out there and play. 2 prolific passing attacks, right? Dylan Gabriel on one end with Oklahoma, Quinn Ewers on the other for Texas, Xavier Worthy. I mean, Texas is legit. They're back. They look fantastic. Rushing attack for both teams is solid, but I'm not sure if they're going to run the football at all in this one. It feels like it's just going to be 60 passes versus 60 passes the other way. I mean, and then both these defenses, right? We got to give love on the defensive side of the ball. Like, they're both really good against the pass and against the run. So, while we typically expect a shootout, and I think we will get one, there is the opportunity there for the defenses to play a bigger role than maybe I'm leading on here.
I mean, OU is number 1 in the Big 12 in scoring, number 1 in scoring defense, and number 1 in turnover margin coming into this game.
They're legit. They play a great style of football. They had that game against Cincinnati on the road where they looked a little shaky in the red zone. That is a problem, I think. And Texas looked a little shaky last week against Kansas in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a bit of a problem if they don't get that fixed, both ends, really, because you got to, in this game, you want to finish with 7, not with 3. So that's really what I'm going to be looking for is who's better at finishing their drives. If you're finishing with 3, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win this game. It's going to be too much for you to overcome.
You're not wrong.
Are you leaning one way or the other? I kind of want you to pick first because I don't know. I'm not torn, but I'm
I have my side I'm more leaning towards, but it's been interesting seeing the stats and kind of I mean, obviously it'll be a little more different, especially during this game, but how different the OU defense is now these days compared to past years, but also obviously last year with Brent Venables, because he is a defensive-minded coach. And for many years, not saying Bob Stoops, didn't do a bad job with defenses at Oklahoma in his time, because he was a great coach. But for the most part, all Oklahoma coaches have been offensive-minded, especially with Lincoln Riley there. It was just, let's score, put up 80. Who cares about defense, right?
It was, half the defense, double the offense.
Exactly.
They did not care what happened on the other side because they knew they were going to score 50.
This is the most even Oklahoma team I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball.
It's the most complete.
Yes, absolutely. Dylan Gabriel's been playing great since he's gotten here. I mean,
the lefty?
Yeah. It's
a little awkward watching him throw the football.
It is. And he just has that, I don't know, he just has a different
little bit
style.
Of a hitch, something like that, where it just looks a little...
It's not like Michael Penix.
It's not like a smooth... Yeah, it's not like a smooth lefty. I don't know what it is about lefties. It just looks a little awkward sometimes. And you see that with Tua.
Yeah, absolutely.
Penix throws a really smooth ball. But Gabriel kind of has that little bit of a funky hitch to his throw.
It does, and it looks very weird. But I mean, it hasn't stopped him, man.
No, he throws a great ball still, and he's a terrific quarterback.
I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to show you that these two teams will be waiting at the end of the line for a rematch in the Big 12 championship.
Easily.
So someone's going to be out for revenge. Someone's going to be out for blood. You think blood? You think Oklahoma's going to be out for it? And they will be because I'm taking the Longhorns.
Wow. Okay. Justin's on the Longhorns -5.5.
I feel like you're about to take the Sooners.
Well, let's see here. 80% of the bets. I did not mention this, but 80% of the bets. I know on the spread are on the Longhorns per the Action Network. Everyone loves Texas.
We know what that
man.
means.
Everyone.
We know what that means.
Everyone loves Texas. So that just, I'm just calming myself down. This number was 6.5 earlier. Now it's down to 5.5. With respect to what? That number's going down.
Oklahoma defense.
That number's going down, but the money and the bets are on Texas. What's happening here? Look, we said it. This game's been played close. I think Texas can definitely win this game. And you're right. I think they're going to rematch at some point down the road here. But at the end of the day...
He's preparing it. I knew it was going to happen.
Go! Go, go, go! Horns down, baby!
Oh.
Boomer Sooner! Let's go all day long. Do it for Kyler. Do it for Baker. Let's go, Sooners. Boomer Sooner. Horns down.
Well, if you do it for anybody, do it for Baker, not Kyler. Baker's going to be active at that game, man. He's going to be tailgating. He said he's going to be raging. It's his off week. He's going nuts.
I'm on the Sooners, man. You got to be on the Sooners. Boomer Sooner, horns down. It's all day. +5.5 too. The Devils number. I love it.
Dangerous game. I'm excited. This is going to be a good game. Not like last year. It's not going to be like last year. I guarantee you that. If it is one way or another like last year, whether I don't know. I don't know what I would say. I wouldn't know what to say. Could you imagine if Oklahoma just put the smackdown on Texas?
That would be awesome.
That would change
everything.
Everything.
It would change everything.
That would change the course. All right, Brent Venables, that's your moment, man.
You got to think, though, they're not going to let 49-0 happen again. You got to imagine that this team is going to come back with a response. No. Now, is it a response big enough to overcome what we've seen from Texas? Because Texas looks like they are the best team in the country right now.
It'll be another spicy thing. What's the over-under right now looking like?
Oh, let me check that out for you.
I was going to say, I think this will be in the 30s or 40s, this game.
30 points total?
No, like each team.
Oh.
They'll both
I was
be.
gonna say,
Yeah, they'll both be in the
what?
30s or 40s. Yeah, both teams will at least be in the 30s for sure.
The over-under is, if I could find the game,
Before we close out this
60
juicy
and a
game.
half.
Ooh, I think it's over.
Well, you're probably one of like 90 people or 90% of the public that thinks that too. Let me see.
What do you don't think it's gonna be over?
Well, I think it's easy to think it's going to be over, and I do think it's going to be over too.
I think everything's right, but
But I don't know, because at the same time, if I look at the total really quick here before we close up for for the day, and we get on to some real football. Everyone likes the over. 70% is on the over.
Makes
so
sense.
I maybe lean under. These defenses are really good. And, if it's, let's say it's 30-27, right? That's still a high-scoring game, and you hit the over. It's only 57 points between the two.
Whose defense will play better? That's the key to the game. Whose defense will play better?
I think it's closing out drives and
reducing turnovers.
Timely stops and closing out drives. I mean, that's typically the name of the game, but I think in this matchup especially,
third downs.
You cannot trade, you cannot trade 7 for 3. You just can't. And you got to get a stop when you need it too.
Absolutely.
Because what did Oklahoma do last year? They didn't get any stops. So they got to,
Oklahoma
bring
and
their
Texas
A game.
got every stop.
They got to bring their A game. But Boomer Sooner, Justin's horns up. What a game it's going to be. And I'm glad we're on opposite ends because this is going to make the thumbnail amazing.
We're going to battle, baby. Battle in Dallas.
All right, let's run it back here. First game, the Tigers taking on the Tigers. LSU heads to Missouri. Me and Justin are both on the Baton Rouge Bengals, -4.5. Alabama heading to, College Station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M. I'm on the Aggies, +1.5. Justin's on the Crimson Tide. I don't know, -1.5. Game 3. Notre Dame heads to Louisville. Louisville, +6.5. I'm not on the Cardinals. Justin's not on the Cardinals. We're on the Fighting Irish, -6.5, baby.
Bang, bang.
Game 4. The Lexington Wildcats, Kentucky. They head to Athens, Georgia. We like the dogs. -14.5. And then in the Red River, rivalry, Oklahoma, Texas. 5.5 point spread here. Justin's on the Horns. I'm on the Sooners. What a weekend it's going to be. One of the best we've had in a minute here. Probably since last weekend. It's
going to be a battle.
Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be a great game. I cannot wait to watch.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Noon Eastern time. Fox probably.
These games are going to kind of be played in reverse the way we picked them.
Yeah, but we had to finish with this one because it is the star of the show.
It is.
And I cannot wait. I cannot wait, man.
We'll catch y'all in Dallas.
Oh, it's in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they always played in Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, I think most recently.
No, but they're outside. They're not. They don't play at AT&T.
I don't know where they play then, because they are outside, but they play. So it's normally in Dallas. We'll figure out location later.
No, I want to figure it out right here, right now. Hold the front door, dude. Hold the front door, please.
Well, the closest door is the back door, so.
Dallas, Texas. It's at the Cotton Bowl Stadium. Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas. Which
is weird because the Cotton Bowl is normally played inside AT&T Stadium.
Exactly.
So they open in the roof?
I don't know. It's at Cotton Bowl Stadium though.
It is outside though. It is always outside. But it's in Dallas.
I know it's always in Dallas.
It's always in Dallas.
Yeah.
It's not at AT&T Stadium, but it's the Cotton Bowl Stadium, which the Cotton Bowl's always played at AT&T Stadium. So who knows?
Who knows? But
if you're in the Dallas area, horns up or Boomer Sooner. It'll be a battle. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.